Okay, simplifying these expressions. Essentially what we're doing when we see a square root is that we're trying to find the number that when multiplied by itself becomes the number inside the radical sign or the root. So what do we see here? We see 36. What number times itself equals 36? We know that 6 times 6 equals 36. I can say then what we're really looking for is the root, square root of 6 times 6. And there's a rule that says that if you see something inside of it twice, if you're breaking it apart into its smaller pieces, you can bring it out once, and therefore we have the answer of 6. Now, as we talked about in class, the square root of 36 is technically both plus and minus 6, because 6 times 6 equals 36, but negative 6 times negative 6 also equals 36, right? So technically, this is the correct answer. Now, what the book is going to do is going to ask you for just the positive square root of it. And often, until you get to higher level math and need to just recognize we've got two answers for this, typically, if they want to know the negative of it, they will let you know. But keep that in mind that there's always, whenever you're square rooting a positive number, there was always the positive root of it and the negative root of it. So your answer at the bottom, if you check your answers, is going to say 6, but just know that it could be plus or minus 6 equaling that. So I'm going to continue that along, okay? Now, I'm going to do something else here. You don't have to do this. You can just see, you may just know that the square root of 16 is 4. And I'm going to write it over here, right? And then I'll say, okay, let's just call it plus or minus 4 just to be consistent. I want to show you something that's a technique that when you start to get further, when you get bigger numbers and you're not really sure what you should do, I'm just going to train you on this now, okay? There's a thing called factor trees. And let's do this over on the side. And in fact, let me just change the color here so it's obvious that we're looking at a different problem. Okay, the answer to that is 4. And we could also call this positive or negative 4 if we wanted to be more accurate. Okay, and box that out. But let's do a factor tree for 16 just to get an idea of this real quick. Okay, and I'll erase this eventually. But 16 we could break down multiple ways. You could say 8 times 2, and then if it's a prime number, meaning you can't break it into two smaller things that multiply to it, then you circle it, right? So we got 4 times 2, circle that, break this down into 2 times 2, and we'll circle both of them because they're prime. So then what we're really then describing for the square root of 16 is, and I need to erase this to get it out of the way, is the square root of 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. You should know that 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 equals 16. Okay? Hopefully you know that. So now that we know that, as I said before, if you're just square rooting something and you don't really know exactly how to break it apart, you can break it down into its primes and then the prime factorization, right? That string of prime numbers that makes it. And then say if it's in there twice, we can bring it out once. So we're going to bring out a 2. And there's another 2 in there that you can bring out a second one. And now when we multiply those together, we get that 4 that we know the answer should be. Okay? So you're allowed to do that with any larger complex numbers, is break it down into its prime numbers, and then every time you see 2 of them, write it out front once. Okay? If you're not sure what I mean by that, and hopefully that makes sense to a lot of you, we can go over that individually. You can just come in and talk to me. So let's do this one. Okay. The trick with these fractions in there is that we can actually just rewrite this as the square root of the top over the square root of the bottom. And then what is the square root of 36? We know it to be 6. What is the square root of 49? We know it to be 7. And that's your answer. Now again, let's just always put plus or minus. I'm going to put plus or minus. The book isn't requiring it, and often they're going to be just referring to the positive version or value of the square root, but I'll do that anyway. Okay, and one last one. Again, when you have a fraction, the entire fraction is being rooted, you can square root the top and square root the bottom separately and come up with the result. Square root of 1, 1 times 1 is 1. Square root of 9, 3 times 3 is 9. So we've got 1/3, and I'm going to call it plus or minus 1/3 just for consistency. Okay. One last note, occasionally when you see a fraction like this, it's not obvious, it doesn't break down nice and neatly, but sometimes you can simplify the fraction, right? Reduce it to lowest terms or whatever you might have called it in your lower classes. Simplifying the fraction will then reveal that, oh, this is actually, it is two perfect square numbers. So anyway, keep